Hello and welcome to the channel. Today I'll be doing a review of the RC Foam Fighters F18. Well, I crashed this one and I'm still gonna put out the video anyway because I had a good time. And by good time I mean not so good time. It was the electronics fault, not the fault of the airplane itself. Alright, so this airplane, really simple compared to the YF23, as in the build was a lot simpler. But the issue with this airplane here is that the plans, they're not very user friendly. So they don't show you where things like where your servos are supposed to go. They don't show that. And they don't show like where the bevels are supposed to go. Well, there are nothing for bevels in the plans at all. I don't think so. So this should definitely be your second build if you're doing foam board builds. The YF23 version 1.3, which I did a review of, that should definitely be your first build because that build, that build was beautiful. The plans were gorgeous. Everything was laid out perfectly. This one, not so much. You have to do a lot of guesswork with this. Before we get into the build and eventually the flight, I just want to complain that my GoPro cut out halfway through the flight, so you don't even get to see the crash. And speaking of crashes, I try not to do them, but you know, things happen, and I really try not to make this channel like the Kevin Talbot channel, whose every video he's crashing and it's like, oh my god, what happened? When obviously he did incite the crash in the first place. These crashes are all accidental. So just want to put that out there. I don't think I will be rebuilding this airplane because I have a plane that I'm designing myself. Well, it's an old plan, but I'm designing it. It's actually right behind me. I don't have the electronics. But let me give you a hint of what this plane is. Now, if you know of an RC airplane, a legendary RC airplane from YouTube, let's say 13 years ago, that has a front wing and winglets, leave it in the comments down below. Video is coming out as soon as I get my electronics. Another tip, the rear wing looks exactly like the front wing, but it's just bigger. So if you know which airplane this is, leave it in the comments down below. Anyways, back to the RC Foam Fighters FA18. Let me show you the build. Alright, I have pre-cut the plans so that you don't have to watch me do that. I'm just going to tile them now onto the full board sheet. This is the order I plan on doing it, and that's the wing and the two tails. Let's go on to the forward fuselage and the belly pan. So I originally tried to tile it in the order that it is, and the fuselage does not fit on that one sheet of foam board. Here's the bottom of the fuselage and the bottom of the of that forward part of the wing. So I'm just going to reorder it so that the entire fuselage fits on one sheet of foam board, and the belly pan and the forward part of the FA18 wing fits on another part, a full sheet of foam board. That structure at the bottom, I'm going to cut that off and put that on a black piece of foam board that I had since the first airframe of the YF23. That is going to be the top hatch of the FA18. Now I have glued down the plans, and they go in order for the main wing and the two tails, from 1 to 4 at the top and 5 to 8 at the bottom. And here is the fuselage, the full fuselage that fits on one sheet of foam board. These go as follows: 9, 10, 13, 14, 17, and 18. That's strange looking structure at the bottom. That is supposed to be your battery holder. And I'm just showing that I cut off the bottom of the plan, the bottom thing, to make that, to make this. This is going to serve as my top hatch. Here's my belly pan, the forward half of the wing, and my elevator. They're page 11, 12, 15, 16, 19, and 20. Now let's get to cutting. Okay, so I cut out all of the pieces so you don't have to watch me do that. And now I am adding tape to the bottom of the belly pan so it does not ablate upon landings. The top hatch does not have any bevel marks to fit flush on the fuselage, so I'm guesstimating where to make the bevel cuts and where to make my bend points. The fuselage also does not have any bend points or score lines, so the nose can contour inwards when folding, so I make my own score lines for that. Here I ensure the template holes of the belly pan fits the pegs of the fuselage before cutting into the belly pan. Before doing a rough test fit of the belly pan, forward lift surface, and the main body, I cut holes into the wing/main body. Here I reinforce the ailerons with tape. The forward lift surface was glued and taped on. The tails were test fitted and the elevator was beveled on one side before taping it to the main body/wing. And I glued the errant belly pan, more on that later. The horizontal holes on the fuselage are for the forward lift surfaces to attach to the fuselage. The other holes are for the battery holder, but since I wouldn't be using the battery holder provided, I wouldn't cut out these holes. The bottom of the fuselage was reinforced with tape, and the bird scare tape was used for the canopy. I glued the fuselage, and here is the ESC and motor I'm using. I'm using a drone motor because the propeller keeps falling off of my other motor, and this drone motor, well, I guess all drone motors, uses a hex nut to secure the propeller in place. The motor with the propeller and hex nut goes on the motor mount, which is secured to the back of the fuselage with 2 nails. I glue the outer and inner parts of the nails so they don't slide out. The ESC is secured to the side of the fuselage, and I cut out a hole for the ESC wire and the battery connector. This bit was supposed to show me test fitting the servos because the plans do not say exactly where to put them. I also install my tomato support cage spar at this time. And of course, well, the build is halfway done. Well, a little bit more than halfway done. I have my servos installed. I just need to trim these off and hook everything up, route my wires accordingly, and just doing a test fit. Look at this. These all line up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They all line up on this side, but on this side none of them line up. So the bottom is not wide enough. Contemplating if I should redo this body and double check for the width, because this is ridiculous. I also don't like this piece here to be on the inside of the prop thing. Let's see, can the propeller even spin? Nope, the propeller can't spin inside of this body because it's too narrow. It's jutting up against here. So I have to reprint the bottom piece. I'll reprint, redo, everything, and let's see what happens. Alrighty, RC Foam Fighters F18. Alrighty, RC Foam Fighters F18 maiden flight. Left, right, up, down. Alright, I have the correct propeller on here, so hopefully I will not have any issues like I had with the YF23.
Throttle active.
I do have some clearance issues that you're probably hearing. Cutting into the foam board right over here. But that's going to sort itself out. wind is coming from that way, so we launch into the wind. And my CG is off. Let's come back in. Yeah. Yep, the battery slid out. I knew something was wrong. Now how do I solve this for the future so it does not slide out? Toothpicks. Do I have a toothpick on me? No. Alright, let's fly and hope for the best. This field here, well, this not field, this parking lot is where I flew my drone a couple of times. Alright, this is gonna be weird because the lot pretty much ends that way, but the wind is coming from that way. And this area is a lot smaller than my regular field. This is supposed to be a park flyer, not a speed, not like an EDF. So I should be able to fly here. Not like fly here legally, not in the legal sense, but like in the how much space I need to fly sense. Should be able to fly. Alright, let me just walk here. Alright, up, down, left, right, left, right. Oh boy. This servo is forever giving me trouble. See, I taped it. I taped it in this servo here. It's forever giving me trouble. It's trying to remove itself. See this? Should be fine. The other one does not budge, but this one is forever giving me trouble. Alright, let's fly.
Throttle active.
Alright. I'm nervous, even though I have no audience. Yep. As expected. Well, this was not expected, definitely not. But not only did the battery fly out, I have to deal with this nonsense again. Oh, this is new. The ESC wire also became disconnected. Alright, I found a pen in my car. I'm going to use the I'm going to use the thing for the ink. Let me just stick this in my pocket. I'm gonna use this to keep my battery in place, because when you launch the airplane, this battery shifts and your CG goes all weird. That's the best case scenario. Your CG goes back and you have a tail heavy airplane. The worst case scenario, which I just encountered, was that your battery flies out and it disconnects. Well, your battery you launch it and the battery disconnects, and the ESC wire also disconnects, so you don't fly. Alright, just casually lobotomizing my airplane. Alright, let's tilt my camera back up. Alright, up, down, left, right. This servo is forever giving me issues. Do you see this whole servo is moving? So annoying. Anyways,
Throttle active.
alright, hopefully it all goes well now. Alright. Absolutely do not like flying behind the trees, but it is what it is. Three channels, bank and yank. Let me step back a little bit. Jesus, I don't even know if the GoPro is still recording through the entire flight. Anyways, I flew well-ish. I nailed a pole on final to land, and yeah, the video is coming out. That is if I actually recorded the entire flight. Seems like when the phone disconnects from the GoPro, it shuts off, the recording shuts off, so I'm not sure how much of the flight was actually recorded. But yeah, this is the the Foam Fighters F18. Yeah. Alright guys, that was the build and the flight of the FA18. Ensure you have a toothpick or something to keep your battery from sliding out of the battery tray, or else you would have a tail heavy airplane. It still flies reasonably well for being tail heavy and having no rudders, but if you don't want that, ensure you have a toothpick to keep your battery in place. Any other tips? No. So subscribe to the channel. Not only do I have this airplane coming, I have the paid plans for the YF23, which I plan on building. I have a RC helicopter up there that I plan on getting to fly, the ALZ RC X380, and I have this airplane coming up too. So this airplane, I designed it in the CAD, and I'll be providing free plans to this airplane. Oh, link to the free plans to the FA18, link in the description down below. Thanks for watching everyone, bye.